enough, like I said, the first thing we're going to be talking about, freaking video games. And yes, I got distracted, by the way. So by telling you about my sleep. I was dreaming about playing a Star Trek game. And it was like a Telltale style game. I cannot, like, I'm probably going to end up playing it. I don't think there's going to be a question on that. It just, yeah. You've like just talking about it, looking at that DS9 third-person horror shooter game has got me just all like waxing nostalgic about Star Trek. And so if I can find a piece of new media of Star Trek that makes me not think about what they've done to new Star Trek, we might be able to roll with that, right? I still haven't watched the season. Fuck, what seasons was I on? I think I only watched up to season 3 of Lower Decks. I really need to watch the rest of it because it's pretty good in my opinion. It's got the Rick and Morty humor. Yes, some of it's a little off-putting, but man, like you go back and you watch any of the Star Treks, especially any of them that we wax nostalgic about right now, and they had shitty first seasons, right? This is the excuse they made for frickin' Discovery, right? For literally the sexually transmitted disease known as the next Star Trek show, Star Trek Discovery, STD. That's the excuse they made. That's the excuse they made. But the thing about it is that it was, the reason I bring that up is because it's not that the first season has a rough start, it's that it's rough around the edges completely because it's meant to be a lighthearted comedy. And the thing about it is that I do believe it does step over the line where people who like Star Trek and lore nerds like myself will not like certain parts of it, because what they did with the episode where the main character literally kills everybody on her ship because she's fucking having anxiety issues and anger problems. It got so much pushback, and I'm just like, but you mean she's doing what I would do if I had access to a holodeck? Because that's what I would do. Because I hate a lot of people in my life. Or at least I used to anyway. And I would absolutely get get something out of being able to do that to people around me without actually hurting anybody, right? In a safe environment where nobody gets hurt, right? But besides all of that, the thing that they had a great way of, oh my God, you're right. See, that's the thing. So Longwood brings up a very, very good point. They had a great way of parodying William Riker. Exactly. That's the key that I think this show really gets, that STD and the new Star Trek movies did not. And that is the people who are writing Lower Decks understand Star Trek. So because they understand it, they can parody it and it not be so ridiculous that it literally takes you out of the universe, because they know what they're doing. Like when he had the trombone on the bridge, dude, that was. And then when they bring the Vulcan chick on board, right? What does she do? Well, she saves the day, right? In the most Vulcan-esque Star Trek way possible. She saves the fucking day and doesn't do it with weapons. It's just, the people who write that show, I think they understand Star Trek. I think they really understand Star Trek. Catharsis, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Sometimes my brain does weird things where I think words exist and they don't, or I use a word and I can't define it, but I feel like I know what it means. And I do use it in the proper context. I just can't tell you the definition, so I have to look it up, right? There had to be a ton of them in the Air Force and Navy, or Navy on staff. Yeah, it does feel like they've definitely got the military vibe of being at the low rung on the totem pole. They definitely got that vibe. But the reason I say they understand Star Trek is because there's so many moments in the show that subvert the modern expectation. Not the old expectation, the modern expectation. Specifically in the first season, when a strong female character, the main character, is in a situation where she's the one, she's the one that is the girl boss, can kick ass while the main male character is a pussy. And her superior officers, the security guard and the commander, who's the second officer, who's the first officer, is they're like gym bro dude bros, right? And in this episode, she's trying to do the whole girl boss thing and falls flat on her fucking face. Gets them imprisoned, gets people killed, all this stuff. And what happens? Dude bro, who's talking like a gym bro at the very beginning of like, who's talking at like a gym bro at the very beginning of the series. He goes out and he does the Riker thing and saves the day. He wins a physical contest against a brutal warrior. He saves the day, and he saves the day with diplomacy and the way that Riker does it in Star Trek: The Next Generation, and puts the girl boss in her place. Like, this is a complete subversion of the modern trope of the girl boss and of the stupid idiot gym bro who's in charge of her, who thinks too much of himself. The thing about it is that her first officer is a gym bro, but he's not stupid. That's the thing. He's actually competent at his job. He's just very arrogant, and because he knows he's good at his job, right? That's the deal. And they subvert the modern expectation that girl boss is going to lay down the law and make her superior look like an idiot, and it literally turns around the other way. And he makes her look like an idiot, and she has to eat that crow. And then there's other parts of it where she's shown to be like this, not only crafty but also caring mentor to the other main character, who's a pussy, right? He's a dude who just completely lacks courage and is almost completely incompetent at damn near everything he does, which is a great like side character. But it also shows that she doesn't just belittle him the entire time. She actually tries to lift him up through most of the series that I saw. And one of the very last episodes I saw, she finally comes to terms with why she's a fucking degenerate reprobate and completely and utterly disregards the chain of command. And it like dawns on her that I'm a Starfleet officer. Everybody's life on my ship is my responsibility. And it's like, that's Star Trek, baby. That's Star Trek. Like Bulmer. Oh my God, dude. It like the way it subverts both modern and old expectations really surprised me. And how it feels like more Star Trek than STD ever did. Like it really feels like Star Trek. It's just comical Star Trek. If you've ever watched the first season of The Next Generation, it's basically like Q had like 50 babies and then had them integrate into the human population so that you could make a TV show that was about these idiots, right? Because that's how it feels. Because the comedy is harkens back to the way Q acted during many of the first episodes in Star Trek: The Next Generation, where he just acts like a flamboyant douchebag the entire time. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got all the power, nobody can challenge him, and so he's just acting however the fuck you want to act. And so he's having fun, and that's what they do the entire time. It just feels like they're having fun. Do they have some episodes where it's like a little bit over the top with the girl boss shit? Yes, but like I said, I just can't. I'm having trouble articulating. I need to go back and watch it again. A physical contest, not a seduction contest? No. It's Tindy. Oh God, don't even get me started on those two. The engineer. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Fuck, I'll look it up. But the physical contest, basically in the episode, you know how in episodes of Star Trek where they'll have like some diplomatic thing and it fucks up and the Star Trek crew gets captured? This happened in the original series a couple of times, in fact. And then the captain or Spock or who the fuck ever is then challenged by the greatest warrior of their species to a match before the gods, and the winner will determine whether diplomacy or execution follows. You know, that kind of dumb shit, right? And that's the premise of that episode. And her first officer this entire time has been framed as this gym bro douchebag, fucking incompetent asshole who basically got his promotions through pure arrogance and failing upwards and all this other stuff. It doesn't show him ever as incompetent. Basically, because you're seeing it through the girl boss main character's eyes perspective, it appears that that's what they're doing. And then in this episode, they completely subvert that and make him an actually competent officer. That was because you couldn't see it because it was from her perspective. And now that he's injected into the story where he has to save the day, it's his that's the thing he puts her in her place with, is like, it's my fucking job to do this. Not your job, my job. I'm the first officer. I'm the fucking commander, and I'm going to go out there and save the fucking day because you fucked it up. And it was great. It was absolutely great. And she eats her crow. She learns from the experience, and we all move on. And it's rarely ever brought up again outside of a fucking joke that she usually makes, funnily enough. And that's how you do character growth. It was beautiful. It was because it blew me away that they even did it. And there were, like I said, there were a few episodes that didn't hit right, like the one where they were all getting promotions and they did this weird trial thing, and it was meant for comedic effect, and for me it kind of fell flat because I was like, oh my god, what is all this going on? And then they pull the curtain back and it's a gag and a prank, and I'm just like, you just because don't get me wrong, the entire episode up until that point was absolutely amazing. And then they open the mystery box, and it's a giant wet fart. Maybe that was the point. Maybe that was the point. Star Trek Lower Decks crew. So we got Beckett. Brad is the Boimler. Devani is she's an Orion. Also, they make fun of that hilariously, by the way. And then Sam Rutherford, that's the engineer. So, have you played Star Trek Borg, the FMV game? Yes, I talk about it all the time, dude. It is one of the best Star Trek games ever. And I wish they would not remake it. No, please God, don't remake it. Remaster it. You can't change the video quality. Right? You can't fix that. It was shot on a fucking potato cam in the 90s, okay? But you could fix the fucking UI and the mouse controls and the way you have to interact with stuff in the game where the cursor is a goddamn spitting Borg cube. Like, get rid of that shit. For God's sakes. But yes, that game was amazing. And Jack, so the commander's name is Jack Ransom. That's his name, the first officer. He's the Riker stand-in. And so his name is exactly what you expect how he acts. Almost all the time. And then the best part about that is that when his job requires it, he turns it off and acts like an actual Starfleet officer. With a couple of exceptions for comedic effect, of course, because it's a comedy show, right? And that's why I like the show, is because they continue to subvert every expectation it's not funny if you only make fun of one person. It's only funny if you make fun of everybody, right? That's the point. That's why racist jokes hit differently when you only talk about one, right? If everybody gets made fun of, well, then it hits a lot different, especially for dudes, right? Especially for dudes. And so for me, the show really exemplifies how you're supposed to do comedy. Yes, I know it's Rick and Morty-esque. I don't give a fuck. And it feels like Star Trek. In many instances, I feel the Star Trek in it. Like, there's an episode where Boimler gets hunted as prey by one of these species that does, like, they have to do, like, a yearly hunt, or they'll go crazy or something like that, or die or some crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like the Pon farr, where the Vulcans have to mate or kill someone, or they die, right? It's kind of like that, except it's like a prey-hunter relationship. And he literally goes around the crew, the alien, asking people to be part of the hunt. And Boimler's doing the can't say no shit that was a movie about this. It had Jim Carrey in it, where he couldn't say no to anything. It was Yes Man, I believe the name was it. And so he was doing the Yes Man thing, where he had to try new experiences. So anytime anybody asked him to do something, he had to say yes. So this alien, who looks like a mix between the Predator, the Alien, and some cyberpunk nightmare, asks him, will you join me in the hunt? And he's like, sure. And then the alien, like, brings out some, like, mammal carcass and smears himself in blood and starts going, the hunt will begin soon. It blows up into this big thing, and Boimler thinks he's gonna die. And the subversion to the trope is that the alien is actually part of a very civilized species who has ritualized hunting to the point where when they get a successful hunt, they do not kill their prey because they have medical technology that will heal you. He can give a lethal blow and you can still survive, right? Depending on how it happens. And so that's what they do. And then the funny thing is the alien, after taking a selfie of him killing Boimler, after taking a selfie of him killing Boimler, oh my God, he critiques Boimler's prey activity. Because, you know, he does the standard thing that movie tropes do where the prey turns into the predator and he basically like comes out and tries to set a trap and stuff. And he criticizes him over it. And then the captain just casually walks up and congratulates him on his diplomacy and how much this is going to benefit the crew and the Federation. And he gets like a attaboy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, that is how you parody Star Trek and make it Star Trek. Because it was quintessential TOS and TNG Star Trek. How many times has that stupid ass trope been used to make some kind of fucking episode, right? And they're all high and mighty over it. And the thing about it is that Lower Decks feels more human than any other Star Trek besides maybe Star Trek 2. Well, the movies do a really good job. But what I mean by human is it feels human in the fact where it's not only talking about grand ideals and the things that we should all live by. It's also talking about just random people who do random things, right? And the things that they have to do to get by, and the pressures that all of that stuff puts on. Because like one of the things you'll never see in a lot of Star Trek is people who are not necessarily depressed, but anxious over the things in their job. Sure, they're frustrated or any of these other things, but there's never any like real tension with individual personnel, and especially in like the early episodes, because that was antithetical to Gene Roddenberry's vision. But it really humanizes the crew when you can see all of their eccentricities, right? Especially with like the commander being a dude bro kind of guy. You know, Jim Bro, he talks like a fucking somebody who watches way too much football, right? But when the shit hits the fan, that shit turns off. He becomes fucking Jack Ransom, first officer of the Rosito. Was it the California class? I think that's what it is. It's so good. Check your stream. So they did Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Yes, they fucking did. And like at first it really does look like they're making Mariner, the main girl boss lady, a girl boss, because like I think it's the second episode. She has to escort this Klingon ambassador to some meeting, and as soon as the Klingon ambassador they meet, they start doing the "Whoa, what's up, man?" You know, that kind of stuff, and it's very cringe, and it very much, you know, is elevating Mariner without actually like showing what elevated her. You know, it's telling you, not showing you. But the show comes literally at the end of the episode and makes up for almost all of that bullshit. Because that's what it looks like, and I think they were subverting that trope. That's exactly what they were doing, I'm pretty sure. And check my Steam. I saw you sent me something. By the way, Space Marine 2 got a new update. They added prestige classes and another mission. So that's 2 or 3 missions they've added since I've played. And they added prestiging. That's one of the reasons I didn't come back for some of the other updates, is because like I'm max level on everything, dude. And now you can prestige. Unfortunately, you can only do it 3 times, which is, they added perks to prestiging. So I'm just make it infinite and give me badges. Where do you see? No, that's not it. There we go. Longwood. Bro. My tax return just hit and I shot at the stair left. Bro. My man. I was debating on whether to play. I didn't let it show start off. So he sent me Star Trek Resurgence. There you go. I'm gonna install it right now. I was debating on whether I was gonna play Lost Epoch or Space Marine, but it looks like Longwood has made the decision for me today. So thank you very much, sir. I very much appreciate it. A scholar and a gentleman, as always, my friend, as always. Cheers. And I mean that, sir. I mean that. And so why are we talking about all this bullshit with Star Trek, right? And it was because of Resurgence. But the whole point of talking about video games, period, was this. A new game came out called Expedition 33 that proved that turn-based RPG should make a comeback. And then somebody points out all 4 of these literally came out last year, and it's true. I have not played any of these games, nor am I going to play Expedition 33 because I'm not a big fan of turn-based RPGs. Not in the way that Final Fantasy does turn-based RPGs, where you've got basically 2 sides that just square off against each other, and then they just take turns back and forth. I understand there's the strategy levels and all that, but I'm not a big kind of... If it were more like a board they were standing on and you could move around the board, that might be more interesting to me. But because there's no actual like movement on the battlefield, you're just standing square or whatever against one another, I never really liked them. You know, I played them when I was real young with like I can't remember the name of the game. My friend really loved it. A lot of people really liked Mana of Time, I think it was, and it had turn-based combat, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And it was, you know, back in the day, so it was like it was more acceptable for me back then. And I mean, these games are amazing. Like, I've watched some of Expedition 33's gameplay. It is astoundingly beautiful, and they really, really, really make the battles look astonishingly great. I lack the words in the English fucking language to articulate just how cool this fucking game looks. Secret of Mana was on SNES? Yes, it was, and that's the one I'm talking about. Because my boy introduced me to it long ago on the SNES. BG3 was also a turn-based RPG. Yes, but it's not the kind like Final Fantasy is, right? Baldur's Gate is a turn-based RPG, but it's a CRPG, not a JRPG. Because like JRPGs tend to be where you run around an overworld, and then when you encounter a fight, you then transport to this different board to fight, right? Whereas in CRPGs you exist in the world, and when you encounter enemies, they are literally in the overworld, and you fight them in the overworld. Now there's a bit of a mix between the two, because like Neverwinter Nights 2, Storm of Zephyr, was a CRPG, but it had an overworld that you went like a big map that you trekked across. And then when you made an encounter, you did go to a smaller map that was laid out so you could move your characters around. But it was still in the form of you move all your characters, positioning matters, all that kind of stuff. You don't like ARPGs, but enjoy CRPGs? Yes. Fallout 1 and 2 are major CRPGs? Yes, they are. I've only played one JRPG, Mega Man X Command Mission. And that's the thing, is like, I've heard Metaphor Refantasio is like an amazing game. The way the story rolls with the politics in the game is absolutely amazing, and it's how you should do politics in games, like hands down. I've heard Like a Dragon is really good. I haven't heard anything about Dragon Quest, and I have no idea what this even fucking says. But it doesn't matter. I have seen Expedition 33, and the reason I'm talking about this is not because of RPGs and not because of turn-based RPGs. It's because my friends, we live in an era. Oh, you can see this, my bad. We live in an era where some of the greatest games that will ever be made are coming out. We live in a golden age of video games. The problem is that half the reason most people can't see it is because they're stuck in like a AAA Overton window, which is slowly disintegrating, by the way. More and more people are seeing it pushed away because of things like Baldur's Gate 3, where it's not an indie studio, it's a AA studio. So they're a big studio, right? Same with FromSoft, they're just knocking them out of the park. Every game hit. They drop another game. Oh, it's a hit too. Let's do another game. Let's drop a mech game. Let's do a Dark Souls like game and make it an open world. Boom. Blows the fuck up. Right. They're not indie. They're mainstream as far as games go, but they're not AAA. They're not these giant conglomerates that are basically nothing more than investment vehicles, right? Because that's what EA and a lot of these companies are, is they're ways for people to invest in the video game industry without having to invest in the video game industry. They invest in this singular company, and now that company is legally required to seek the most profit imaginable by any means legally they can. Simple as. So, and here's the thing, if your CEO and your board do not do every legal thing they can to make money, they can be sued and fired. Or excuse me, they can be fired and sued for not, because they have a fiduciary responsibility. That actually means something. Because basically the reason that law exists is so you can't get on the board and then fuck the company up, so that you can buy the stocks at a lower price, or you can, because you want to destroy the company, right? You can't do that. That you will be held legally liable, hands down. And I think that's probably a good thing. But it also has the side effect that if you have a corporation like EA, where their only concern is making money, this is why you get FIFA in the absolute shit state it is, where if you want to play anything of the online mode, like you're just basically, you might as well, if you want to be able to compete at all online, you're spending $1,000, if not more, just to be able to do that. Let me see. I can't open that in another one. Actually, wait. No, it won't. That sucks. Pardon me 1 second. Here we go. We'll do this one. I have to copy and paste it. Okay. That's odd. What we'll do is we'll go to Twitch chat. Sorry about this, boys. But yes, I do believe that we are in a golden age of gaming, and one of the reasons that a lot of people, especially the media, can't see it is because they're stuck up EA's ass. They're stuck up Ubisoft's ass, right? And one of the reasons they're stuck up their asses is because they bend the knee to the politics of the journos who write all this shit. All right.
Today I got an Xbox 360. I got it at Costco in one of those bundles where you get an extra
Nobody has fucking good audio.
Controller and a copy of Halo 3.
If you're not indie, you!
Yo, bro, getting the new Madden?
If you're not indie, you!
Hi, my wee friend code is 199.
If you're not indie, you!
Who wants to trade Pokemon? I've got a Jiggly.
If you're not indie, you!
I love bowling.
You!
Street Fighter 4.
You!
Game Boy?
You!
I made a game in my room. It's called Box Hero. Just made it in my spare time. I'm trying to start a company, maybe someday make a lot of money with it.
If you're not indie, you! Wow! You! You! If you're not indie, you!
That's great, man. That's great. But it's no longer called FIFA. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Let's not be hasty. No longer called FIFA. It's now called EA Sports FC, as FIFA won't give them the name rights anymore. Yeah, I wonder why. Maybe it's because they've completely trashed the brand by making it a microtransaction fucking casino machine. Because that's literally what you do, is you pay EA money so you can gamble on fucking digital cards of players, and they even have like different grades of them. So you could get like, it's basically like items in WoW. You could get like the best player in the world, but you've got a common version of the card. Oh, you need to be able to compete. You need the ultra mega super fucking hardcore legendary fucking one that's like orange and purple and green mixed all rainbow fucking colors, because it's fucking, it's all kinds of stupid fucking moronic shit. And I really think I really like the fact that the EU is cracking down on microtransactions, and I cannot wait till that shit comes here. Absolutely 100% W. I got a lot of criticisms for the EU. This ain't one of them. Not even a little bit. Fuck you. Fuck you, EA. Fuck you, all your corporations. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. FIFA wanted more money. EA said no. Well, yeah, because they're like, think about it like this. You know how bad microtransactions are in games. Like, you see them, right? But now imagine you have a game where basically only normies really play it, right? I'm sure there are streamers who play FIFA all the time and blah, 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 and are like super ultra mega nerds like us. Sure. But the vast majority of people that play FIFA are like the people that play fucking Madden, right? They're not people who play video games like we play video games. They're not playing Space Marine 2. They're not necessarily playing Fallout or Pantheon or Path of Exile or Star Trek Resurgence. They're not playing any of these fucking games. What they're playing is Madden or FIFA. My cousin is one of these dudes. In fact, all of my cousins are exactly like this, except they play Madden, right? My cousin, let's call him Tim. He doesn't play video games like I do. I mean, does he have an Xbox? Sure. Does he play a few shooters here and there, like Call of Duty? Absolutely. But the main games that he plays are like sports games and shooters, and that's it, right? Occasionally he'll play like a platformer, but it's rare he'll get into some fucking ultra fucking nerd game that I'll get into. Space Marine 2 is a good example of a game he might play if he knew about it, right? Because of just how awesome it is. When I worked at GameStop, the sports shooter releases were nuts. Yes. And that's the thing, is that there are gamers who are literally just sports ball gamers. And that's fine. I have no problems with this at all, except for the fact that they literally do not give a single fuck about anything else going on in the games industry, like most gamers, to be fair. But the problem is that they're using the Madden and the FIFA as a vehicle to install patterns that because essentially in FIFA, you buy the microtransaction, what are they called? Loot boxes. And then you open the loot box and then you get random cards and shit, right? Gambling. It's fucking gambling. Especially because I believe you can actually sell the cards for money. You could trade other people and you can ask for payment. And I mean, there were all kind of horror stories going on for a few years ago about all these kids charging $20,000-$30,000 to their parents, stuff over credit cards over stuff like FIFA and other microtransaction heavy games that are literally designed to make you a gambler. Either to be addicted to gambling or to give you the dopamine rush that gambling triggers to make you addicted to it and want you to spend more. Because it is always like one more, right? And you've always got the, the gambler's fallacy, or no, that's not what it's called. It's called God, I can't remember what it is. It's where you've already invested so much, so you might as well keep going. I forget what that is. Sunk cost fallacy. That's what it is. I've already sunk this much bullshit into it. I might as well continue to sink more until I get something good, right? Because there needs to be a time at which you just cut yourself off. Sunk cost, yeah. And so if you do gamble for fun, which occasionally I do, it's not something I indulge in often, but when I do, it's because it's a waste of money, essentially. But when I do, I have a set amount of money I'm going to spend, and that's my fun money. And if I'm going to spend my fun money on gambling because I want to gamble, that's it. It's like playing an arcade machine. I want to beat this game. Well, if it costs me $50, fuck it. I'm gonna stand here for 3 hours and I'm gonna play this fucking game. It costs me $50. I don't give a fuck. I'm having fun, right? That's the whole point. But in a game like FIFA, it's so easy to just, your credit card's already on there. You can just buy, and you're just pulling one after another. And because they tend to use obfuscating mechanics like currencies that only exist in the game that are not quite adjacent to real life money quantities, because they're not one for one what the dollar amount would be, it obfuscates the price. And so you could spend a lot more money than you thought you did just by doing that. And they're getting rid of that, by the way. Anything that costs, if it says it costs 1,000 coins or 1,000 V-Bucks or whatever the fuck it is, it now has to say next to it what the actual monetary denomination is in the local currency that you exist in. And because most games know your location based on your country codes and stuff like that, they are able to extrapolate what your local currency is and show you in your local currency. And they absolutely should be required to do that. I think that should absolutely be something here we do in the United States. Like, I would love it if somebody in our goddamn government would like talk about this kind of thing, because because it's essentially a lot of these companies are addicting children to gambling at an early age by having games that are like FIFA. FIFA's not the big one for children. The big ones for children are all the tablet games and the phone games that are cutesy wootsy shit. Like my daughter like loves these things, like Roblox and shit, right? And one of those games, I can't remember which one it was. Basically, if you needed to buy like a pack of something with coins that you had to pay money for to be able to advance to the next level, right? Or once your energy runs out for the day, you have to buy more, right? Well, what happens is what they did, this is in a kid's game, is that when you ran out of your energy, your avatar would start to cry, like big tears, like almost Baby without the whale, until either your energy refilled or you bought the money. And as soon as it happened, you've got your avatar there crying, and then right next to that, it's like this big page, you know, save the day or what the fuck ever, buy more stuff. And it's like, just on the face, you can tell that is extremely emotionally manipulating. And this is to children. This is a child's game. And the funny thing is that the game that made the EU take a look at this was a game about fucking ponies for girls. How fucked up is that? Where literally the entire point of the game is to unlock new horses and ride them around. That's the whole point of the game. Yep. And so, like I said, the reason I have this up is because we do live in a golden age of gaming, but you'd never notice it if all you read were the mainstream gaming sites like PC Gamer and all these other places, because they all fucking suck. They're all completely ideologically captured. They do not give a fuck about you. They are not gamers, not anymore anyway. Not the way we are. And because they care more about politics than video games, right? Because you can care about both. I mean, I do politics and I do video games, but you know which one I care more about, right? Because for 5 fucking years that I've been doing this, I did one over the other a lot more. It's also on the parents for not teaching kids the value of money. Yeah, but you can't. There's a line, bro. There's literally a line. That's the problem, right? Got to give the kids jobs and reward them appropriately. $15 ain't so easy to spend when they don't earn a day by busting. The point about this is that the games are creating games for children that have abusive and manipulative mechanics designed to make you want to buy things when you otherwise would not. And not only are you buying these things when being manipulated into buying these things, but they're also being addicted to gambling as well. Because a lot of these games have gambling mechanics. So you combine these two fucking forces together and you have what's called fucking evil. So yes, I do agree that some of the blame does lie at the parents' feet for allowing their children unfettered access to these devices. That is true. My daughter does not have unfettered access to her laptop. Absolutely fucking not. Not gonna happen. She already does what I do and will literally sit in her room all day and play video games, okay? The last thing I want her to do is to be able to fucking get addicted to that kind of shit. It's synergy. Yes, that's right. It's synergy. It is synergy, right? But we do. And look at all the games that have come out over just the past like year or so, right? We got Space Marine 2, a game that is got modern day mechanics. It's got modern day visuals. It's got all the stuff you would expect in a modern game. As far as like UI and functionality and stuff like that, but it elicits the feeling of like the mid to late 2000s or even the early 2000s with the way the game plays. Hell, it basically just harkens back to old school gaming period. But we talk it back to like the early 2000s and in the 2000s because that's when the hacker slasher was real fucking big. Like every game came out was a fucking hacker slasher, including Mortal Kombat. They had a couple of those, and it really harkens back to that, and one of the reasons is because it's just pure fun. Pure fun. All of the microtransaction bullshit in this game is purely cosmetic. And it's just how much drip do you want and how much are you willing to spend on it. And let's be real, it's cheaper than buying fucking real models. So, and you don't got to fucking paint them yourself. Even though some dudes like that. That's fair enough, right? So you got Space Marine, Elden Ring. I mean, that came out like 2 years ago, but that's, you know, it's still a big contender of the thing that I'm talking about, right? It's a contender in the arena of what I'm talking about. We have Cyberpunk 2077, also came out 3 years ago. I don't actually remember when it came out, but yeah, I did say the last year, and then I'm talking about games that came out before that because, you know, I don't have an infinite budget. But these are absolutely massive games that have redefined what video gaming is in our era, in the era we live in right now. Baldur's Gate 3, another great example. What's another one? And Cyberpunk originally was a broken mess, and then they actually did the No Man's Sky and fixed it, right? They absolutely fixed it. Came out the end of 2020. Thank you. So it's over 5 years old at this point, and it's still one of the best games that you could probably play today. How crazy is that, right? How absolutely crazy is that? Yeah, I don't have a lot of games. Oh, Path of Exile 2 came out. The early access came out this year. It'll probably release last year, and it'll release sometime this year, right? So there is no dearth of games that we are in. What it is that the franchises that we grew up with, that, you know, we played when we were teenagers, when we actually had a lot more time to just game and do nothing else, those franchises are dying. And the reason they're dying is because they were successful. They were so successful that money-grubbing assholes got their hands on them, and now they are going to extract as much wealth as they can from the property, and they don't give a fuck if it kills it. They do not care. This is why Assassin's Creed is the way it is. This is why a lot of the Star Trek shit is the way it is. They just Paramount's never really given a fuck about Star Trek as far as I'm concerned. Because if they did, they wouldn't have canceled fucking Star Trek. Like, that's the thing, man, is that they wouldn't have canceled Star Trek Enterprise if they cared. Right? Oh, the viewership was down. It's like, yeah, it is. But it's still Star Trek. But the only reason they're doing it is to make money, right? But what they didn't do is they didn't look past the next year's portfolio or the next quarter, and to realize that they had kept things like, if they had kept Enterprise alive, or made a new series earlier that was post TNG, post DS9, post Dominion War, that even if it wasn't as a huge a commercial success as they wanted, it would have kept the franchise alive, and it would have kept people interested in it more than they are now. And it possibly would have avoided everything we've done today, right? With all the fucking venereal disease that STD is, right? I haven't played the 2.0 version of the expansion yet. I'll wait till it's on sale and play it. 2.0. Oh yeah, it's good, dude. It really is. It's still the same base game as far as like the story and stuff goes. They've added a little bit more, but it definitely feels a lot better than when it released. Not just with the bugs and shit, but the story itself, the dialogue. They added in more dialogue options and stuff like that for a lot of things. The combat feels a lot more interesting than just a regular first-person shooter. They fixed a lot of the skill trees and shit. It feels pretty good to play, and the driving is a lot better. And so we've had all of these great games, and like this person says, like, all of these games came out last year, right? I remember hearing people talk about Metaphor ReFantazio because of just how good it is. I remember watching clips of the Emperor talking, and I'm just like, wow, they did a good job. It's got good dialogue, good voice acting, and I mean, it's powerful cutscenes, and that's how you do it. Too many people are way too involved with, oh, I gotta watch the cutscenes. Oh, there's so many cutscenes, but nobody gives a fuck about your cutscenes if they're fucking amazing. Everybody will fucking sit there and watch it if it's amazing. It has to be awesome, and if it's not, then you probably shouldn't include it. And so we really are in the next, like you gotta think about it like this, dude. Who has been defining the video games industry for the past 5 years? Has it been the AAA? No, it hasn't. It has not. Every AAA developer has basically fallen flat on their asses for almost every single release that they make, with the exception of a few, right? Some of them are still turning out good shit, like Capcom, Nintendo, they're still doing fine. But it's because they're not being money grubbing dipshits and destroying their brands with bad business practices. Because it will leave a bad taste in your mouth when your favorite game makes you spend extra money to get this cool thing that you want. When you feel like it should be something that should be included with the base game in and of itself, right? Like imagine you had to unlock the ability in a first-person shooter to walk backwards, to backpedal, or to strafe, right? Or to aim down sight. Imagine you had to pay a microtransaction for that. That's what it feels like in some of these games where the mechanics are very different from most of the games that we play. Like if a Fallout game was made and to be able to like craft, you had to like unlock that with a microtransaction. Like if it's a free game, maybe I could absolutely understand that, right? If it's a free game and microtransactions pay for it, you're playing a free game, dude. What can I say? Well, greetings and salutations, my friend. How goes it, sir? How goes it? All right, so yeah, I think it's going to be a great next few years for gaming because, like I said, who for the past 5 years have been leading the gaming industry? It's been AA and indie. Like you had Power World just blow the fuck up. You had Dark and Darker just blow the fuck up. What was that? Schedule One, another indie game, which is literally made by one dude, just explodes on the market. Right? I haven't played it. I really don't have much interest to. It's not because of the themes. I have no problems with drugs at all. But it's just not something I'm really interested in as far as the gameplay. Maybe if I wasn't on the ARPG kick, I probably would be. But that's just not where I'm at right now, right? Because I guarantee you, if I were 18 or excuse me, if I were 22 and below, I would have absolutely bought the game just based on the fact that you become a drug dealer. Not even lying. I am absolutely the reprobate your mother warned you about. So they've been, AA and AAA have been leading the gaming industry for damn near 5 years already. Every single time. Baldur's Gate 3 is another prime example. How many game devs from these AAA companies were trying to shit all over Baldur's Gate 3 because it was so goddamn good, it put everything they did to shame. And they were like, oh, we could never do this. This is a 1 in a million fluke. It's like, it doesn't matter, dude. Whatever you say, none of that shit matters. All that matters is the customer experience. That's what matters. And if your customer experience is shit, and somebody releases a game that makes your customer experience actually look like 100% USDA approved grade A bovine excrement, that's not the fault of Baldur's Gate 3. That's your fault. That's what that is. And nobody who buys video games and plays video games gives a fuck about you. I don't. You're a developer. That's great. You are not entitled to a job. That's not how that works. If you don't make a product that I want to buy, I'm not going to give you my money. Doesn't matter. It's like, could you imagine I go to buy a product at a store. Let's say I need a sink and it's all fucked up. Half the shit doesn't work. I have to buy extra parts. All of a sudden, would I ever buy a sink from you again? Well, fuck no, I would never buy a sink from you again. And yet we do this in video games all the time. And we make excuses for it. And I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of it. So I have no sympathy at all. Let me rephrase that. I absolutely have sympathy for the legions of game developers who never talk shit and never do it and do any of this bullshit in the main space, and they just want to make good games. I do have sympathy for them when they lose their jobs. But the problem is that you joined a company that you knew was shit. Everybody knows that Ubisoft is shit. Everybody knows that EA is shit. Everybody knows that fucking Microsoft is shit. So when they put you on a project to turn out shit product, you knew what you were doing when you got into this. Some of this is for you to be held accountable, correct? If you wanted to make good games, then you don't go to EA to make good games, bro. That's 2 decades ago, man. That's 2 decades ago. You don't do that. You don't go to Ubisoft to make good games, okay? You go to Ubisoft to make slop, right? That's what you do, modern slop. You go to Bethesda, you making modern slop. Fallout 76, anyone? Starfield? No? Okay? You're not making good games. So why would I buy your game? If I have to buy extra parts just to make it work and then kajigger other parts and like downloading mods to make your game function, not just to make it better, right? Like other Bethesda titles, just to make it fucking function properly. So I have very little sympathy. Like I said, I do sympathize, but it's still not very much, because it's like when you go to work for these companies, you know what you're doing. You know you're working for an evil corporation that will throw you under the bus at the slightest drop of a hat. Absolutely 100%. The only thing they care about is making money, and you know that getting in. Oh, but you want to go work on Assassin's Creed, or you want to go work on these very prestigious titles instead of coming up with your own bullshit. And see, that's what I call the easy way out. And this is what happened to me when I went and worked at a fucking beer bottling plant, and I had to deal with all the fucking ancillary bullshit that was involved with the company that I went for. But I knew going in that exactly what I was getting into. I was involved with a money grubbing piece of shit corporation that did not give a single fuck about me. And they only gave a fuck about me so long as the law required them to. I knew that going in. And I was not surprised when they showed it every single day exactly who they were. Yet we're supposed to feel bad for these guys who lose their jobs, who join these corporations, who they know are evil pieces of shit. These guys would work with the Nazis to put the Jews in fucking gas chambers if it made them a buck. Like, let's just be real. Most of these people would do exactly that. And the reason they would do exactly that is because they're hired to do exactly that. They're psychopaths, most of them, right? Because how many people did they have to step on to climb that corporate ladder? How many people did they have to put down? How many lives did they have to destroy to get where they are? Now, maybe I went a little far saying they'd work with Nazis, but Hugo Boss, Volkswagen, I mean, anybody? So, they don't care about you. And this is the thing. This is how I know this. Because they still use slave labor. Even though they say slavery is bad, they still use slave labor. They work with the worst people on the planet, terrorists and dictators, to make their product, to get their product, and to sell their product cheap. And so if you don't think that they would do exactly what I just said, you might be naive. You probably are.